Do you know, that's because I have my glasses up like that, flat and head. Right. So, yeah, we're live from Sheffield. Now I've got an angle where I've actually got, like, the phone will be up my nose. Right, so far, like, I don't know what's going to come. Anyway, yeah, what was we saying? We were saying about the newspapers. Oh, yeah, so we were talking about, like, someone commenting that, like, the worst, someone down the end of the cafe earlier, that the worst people are attracted to, or no, the worst people get promoted the most on Twitter because people are attracted to sort of like anger and like wanting to respond to like, you know, really awful things that someone said or someone's posting. And then I said, the worst of it all is the Daily Mail. Do you know what I mean? Well, not just the Daily Mail, but all media, all of that sort of like Tory media. Look, we've got 34 viewers already. Quick, no? So you can join us and you can comment. So if you've got any questions you want to ask, look, is that just you have to keep my head down like that? Because otherwise it's just like filming up my nose when you have the camera a bit lower. The best place would be to up there, like get a tripod, but that's how it is. So we're saying about the Daily Mail because, like, their front pages are really awful. Like, some of them are really, really, like, designed to support their political view, but also to rile. And they're, like, page after page of, like, performative utterances, like, woke lefty. Do you know what I mean? Rwanda is a performative utterance. Do you know what I mean? I'm almost certain that they chose that word as a signifier for like. I mean, it's not long ago since there was like the Hutsi and the Tutsi were having like a fucking genocide going on there, and now it's like it's already coming to common parlance. Like people shouting at someone I saw it the other day. Oh God! Like they were shouting at them. You sort yourself out, or I'll be sending you to Rwanda. Do you know what I mean? This is what it's all about. You know, it's about. It's not new. You know, people in countries and like across the world, political parties have actually, you know, used racism and things like that as a tool for power. Because you rub it a little bit, no matter where you are, in Australia, in India, you know, in America. That's how people, particularly on the right, get some votes. That's what Brexit was about. You know, Brexit was like where they took like European citizens, British black and ethnic minorities. They took refugees, people fleeing war, and made them one homogenous group. So much so, I was listening to the guy on the radio on LBC, and he was saying, yeah, we've got to leave the EU, they've got all the corner shops, do you know what I mean? And the guy who was on the radio, I forgot what's his name, James O'Brien, he was saying, who's got all the corner shops? The Europeans? What are you talking about? You know, and it was just like so confusing for people. You know, because they didn't understand, but this is how the newspapers, when they talk about Twitter, and the guy was talking about Twitter, this is how ingrained newspapers and newspapers' headlines, how powerful they are. They seep onto the internet, but they're still on the newsstand. And what it is if you have 1 million people paying, it's 80p during the week, it's £1.20 on a Saturday, £1.50 on a Sunday. If you have people physically buying it with their own cash, it's an investment. It's an investment into like the ideology. It's an investment into like the political thought about like, you know, circumstances. But it's also an investment into engaging in a political party, into the Tory party, and you know the protagonists and supporting them, whoever they are. It wasn't long ago that like the Daily Mail hated Boris Johnson. They was all very trees of May. Do you know what I mean? When the last guy was in, but they brought back somebody else, whatever his name is. I forgot, Paul. Anyway, they purposefully go out every day with this. You know, in London we have the Evening Standard and the Metro. You have the Metro up here. Like, it's owned by Lebedev, you know, whose dad Lebedev is like, is the son of a billionaire oligarch who's KGB. When I went to listen to Pussy Riot talking about, she said, no one leaves the KGB. You don't, if you're in the KGB, you don't leave, you don't become an oligarch. You're always in the KGB. So this guy who's in the KGB, his son obviously is the son of a billionaire, so he has got money, but it's from his dad. It's all from his dad. It's his dad that's bought the newspaper. It's his dad that's funded it all. So these newspapers, which I saw the other day, I got on the bus and I witnessed this guy and he was just heaving. He was heaving. It was like a proper struggle. Like back in the day, he had like a massive pile all strapped in of Evening Standards, heaving them onto the bus to put them on the bus. Do you know what I mean? How do they get the right to put this newspaper on public transport that we pay for? This newspaper on the bus, in the train stations. Where do they get the right for it? The worst thing is, it's fucking free. It's free. The hell's that about? So if it's free, and they're putting it everywhere, and they print, in London alone, the same amount as nationally they print the Daily Mail. So there's 1 million Daily Mails get sold a day. They print 1 million Evening Standards a day. There's only, I don't know how many million live in London. Wider London, probably about 20 million. You know what I mean? I'm upwards of 20 million. But it's like, it's free. What? Oh, hold on a minute. You've got all these headlines on the front page every day, on newsstands, on the bus, on the train, on the tube, and it's free. That's got to make you think, well, somebody's the customer. Do you know what I mean? Somebody is like, because if it's free, it's probably you. Do you know what I mean?
The product.
You're the product, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like they say on the internet, if it's free, then you're the product. But it's true, isn't it? Because it's like, you know, the headline's very pro-Tory. You know, George Osborne was the Chancellor of the Exchequer, architect of austerity. Next minute, he's the fucking George Osborne. Are you joking me? What, he's now the editor of the main newspaper that's free, that's going around. In the last two elections, 2017, 2019, he was in charge of the Evening Standard, massive paper, and he's like all over it. Do you know what I mean? Vote Tory. And that's extraordinary. I think that's extraordinary, and the power of that, you know, like whatever you think the internet is, and it does have like massive value, and you know, there's a lot of changes going on the internet, you know, massive volumes going off into TikTok, you know, people are, we were talking earlier, wired into this like dystopian. It's almost like this fellow is going to get in there. It's almost like it's like a heroin, isn't it? It's like fucking it's like opium. It's like TikTok is internet opium. Visually, there's a fella coming in. There's another. Sit down. Go on. Oh, he's coming in to get something to eat. Then have a chat and then come back. This John has just come in. Yeah, so like so it is sort of like that has a value as well. Do you know what I mean? As well as the newspapers, but I still think the newspaper holds sway. You know, because lesser people maybe vote that watches TikTok. I don't know what they're up to, but like they're definitely fucking. Their heads are wired. You know what I mean? They're wired. It's like a trip. It's like LSD. Do you know what I mean? Mescaline, peyote cactus of the internet, TikTok. Visually, there's lights fucking coming at you. There's text. There's swirling fucking smiley faces. Have you seen it all? Have you been on TikTok? Oh my God, no. It's crazy. It's proper. It's like out there. Do you know what I mean? It's very immersive. It's immersive. It grabs hold of you so much so you're looking at it and you're thinking, you come out of like this sort of like drunken visual stupor 25, 30 minutes later, you're going, what was I doing? What was I doing? I'm sure I was doing something a minute ago and I've forgotten. Because you I don't know, you pressed the button and there was some sound and noise and visuals. Someone was shuffle dancing and then Ronaldo was scoring from a corner and then it was like fucking, do you know what I mean? There was something else and there was like lights. You're gone, do you know what I mean? And you cannot remember. You're trying, you're going, what's I doing? And then all of a sudden you see it. And it was there, it's the electricity bill and you're thinking, but I just read the meter and it's like, it's 100 over than this. They've estimated it. I've sent them the thing. I'm going to call them again because you can't though. So you WhatsApp them now and you just wait all day for them to reply. The electricity company will get back to you shortly. Do you know what I mean? I'm getting the gas from them and they're estimating the bill. My gas meter's out the front. Go and read it. Do you know what I mean? You can come round. You used to employ people to come round and read my meter. Don't estimate me. Do you know what I mean? Because it's too much. It's already expensive, isn't it? Fucking hell. And there's all the front pages today, because there was a march today for the TUC. But all the front pages today was about, we can't afford these massive wages for the workers. What fucking massive wages for the workers? Front page of the Tory Times of London. You know, so everything's a reaction to what's going on. Do you know what I mean? There's forward planning in newspapers. So every day, within a week or 2 weeks, they would know. So their newspaper headlines this morning was prepared for it. Can't even remember where's my bag? I've got my iPad. So today there's, just as a point, right? So today there was a march. And the march was, it was titled, We Demand Better. So it's not something that they just woke up and they just thought, oh, we're going to do a reaction. Well, we'll talk about. This is the front page of today's paper. The Express went, save summer, work longer. Yes. Do you know what I mean? You want your summer, you got to work longer. Daily Tory graph. We must not bow to the strikers. So do you see what I'm saying? They knew that the TUC, the front page of the Times, big wage increases. Too risky. What do you mean big wage increases? How do you even get big? Where's the word big come from? Who said that? Who's demanding that? We demand better was the slogan for today. But big wage increases? And the funny thing is, we must not bow down to the strikers. See, MPs don't strike because they get an automatic wage increase, don't they? Every year, it's automatic for them.
Scandalous.
Scandalous. It's fucking. I mean, everything's going up. Everything's going up, but the wages. Do you know what I mean? And you see things like, what's that company called that makes the petrol? BP. So they got their highest on record. Apparently they're earning 1 billion a week profit. 1 billion a week profit. That was a nationalised fucking company till they sold it off. BP, was it nationalised?
Yeah.
Fuck's sake, do you know what I mean? That could be for the people. Do you know what I mean? It's so profitable, isn't it? The gas and energy. We were talking about coal earlier. So with miners like 100 years ago, it's always been about natural resources. It's always been about people having the power to like control. Is it the means of production? Is that what they say? Control sort of like the things that, the necessities of life. Do you know what I mean? It's about the necessities of life, isn't it? And they want to control it because even when they say like, you know, if they wanted to, they could put like a solar panel on every. It was a bit rainy today, but you still get some, even in the brightness. Solar panel on every roof in the entire country. I think it would estimate it cost 50 billion. But automatically, if it took 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70% off of everyone's bill, that'd be for life. Do you know what I mean? That'd be forever. Do you know what I mean? That would always be kept. They're not going to do that. They want to control all these things, isn't it? and they use the newspapers to control it, and they use the newspapers to say, like, you know, where's the thing about petrol prices? You know what I mean? Where's the demands on petrol prices? And it's too risky to like put the wages up. Everyone's like fucking, everything's going up apart from the wages. Do you know what I mean? And they were saying, like, what was that one where I said, save summer, work longer? That's a fucking headline, isn't it? Because I was saying this morning, because Tories ain't cheap. Tories aren't cheap. They're not like chicken. Cheap. They're not like fucking chicken, Tories. You know, they got castles, they got stately homes. They ain't cheap. You know, we got a financially illiterate prime minister, someone who's in charge of the economy, who's absolute basket case. Brexit. Do you know what I mean? Ruin. We're in ruin. Do you know what I mean? An island economy. You know, we can't sell anything anywhere. It's just an island economy. You can't get anything through the Port of Dover. And if you do, it just goes and stays there because we're a third country. We used to like have the rights to go and live and work in 27 different countries. Now we just can work here on one. Stuck on fucking, they're called Plague Islands. You know, but they're not cheap. They cost a lot of money to look after, like the royals. You know what I mean? That's not cheap. She's out there. Look, they've got like so they got the big wage increases, too risky, juxtaposed with Kate. Oh. In a polka dot dress, which apparently Princess Diana wore as well, a polka dot dress once. Yeah, imagine. Princess Diana once wore a polka dot dress too.
Fascinating stuff.
Fucking amazing. I couldn't even believe it when I read it. That the both of them had a polka dot dress. I thought I had a... Yeah, look. It's on the front page of the Daily Mail. They're both amazing. Eh? I think my mum had one. My mum had a polka dot dress as well. Long time ago. But yeah. The People's Princess. That's what we're fed, isn't it? Your wages is too, we can't afford, too risky. Big wages, so we're talking about not the internet, we're talking about physical stuff here, we're talking about things that's printed. You know, it's really physical. The internet is like what we talked about before, TikTok. It's like, do you know what I mean? Your brain's gone. This is physical stuff. You pick it up, you hold it, it's tangible. It's got printed words. You touch it, the print comes off in your fingers. 138 viewers now, 74 likes. We're in Sheffield, all of us. Yeah, I mean the thing is, it's extraordinary because you know when we were talking earlier on about the paper being free, that ain't really a paper then, is it? That's like pamphleteering, isn't it? It's literally like pamphleteering. It's like going around at the election, putting the zine or putting your little thing through, because we get through, I live in Bromley, we get one through from, looks exactly like it's like a fucking Bromley newsletter. It's only when you start reading it, you find out it's from the local Conservative Party, do you know what I mean? But the same is true of the Evening Standard and the Metro, do you know what I mean? It's very insidious. People's on the bus, do you know what I mean? People who like, you know, maybe not tuned in with what's going on politically, maybe like more tuned in to see what Gemma and Davide and Ekin Su are doing on the Love Island. Has everyone been catching up with Love Island? No. Oh, fucking hell. So Gemma, who's Michael Owen's daughter, is on the Love Island, and there's a guy called Davide, Italian, and they was like matched together. And they're allowed to sleep in the same bed, but you know, whether they touch or anything like that. But Ekin Su came in, cat amongst the pigeons. She started working out and invited Davide to work out with her. It was all off. So like fucking arguing and not watch it. Love Island. Millions of views. I was on the coach and I could hear them behind me going on about it. I know. I got the coach up to, let's go on to this though, it's a bit random. I got the coach up to Sheffield today, so my ticket, sorry, it was £200 to travel from London to Sheffield. I was thinking, fucking hell, 200 quid's a lot. And my son said, you should go for the coach. He's doing politics at Manchester. Get the coach. So we'll go for the coach. Sheffield, 15th, what is it, 15th today? 18th of June. Yeah, I put it in, like, travel, like, I need to be there about 12, 1 o'clock. £6. £6? 6? I said, I'll book in a fucking return. We'll come back on the next day. Another £6. I was going, no way. £6 each way. And then when I went through and I booked it, came up £12.80. 80p booking charge. I was thinking, well, that's all right as well. £12.80 now. And then to get your tickets, you have to download the National Express app. So I download the National Express app, and when my tickets come up, £5.87 off because you've downloaded the app. Whatever it is. Return to Sheffield. And I was thinking, no, there's a catch here, do you know what I mean? 15 minutes to the train into Victoria, I walk out Victoria Station, come over to National, waiting for the fucking catch, do you know what I mean? Going, is that my coach there? Yes sir, welcome, come on. Can I take your bag? I was like, yeah, take my bag. He said, have you downloaded the QR code? I said, I got the app. Ding. Where can I sit? And he said, sit where you like. I said, what about those? Sorry, we were talking about the coach. How long was that on? Have I been off for long? Anyway, I'm talking about the coach. Anyway, so I get it, take my bag, and paid £6 return. Yeah, it was less than £6 return to Sheffield. QR code, where can you sit anywhere? What? They all got big leg room to get on the coach. Brand new. Spanking new. And I'm not joking, right? Pure leather seats.
They are comfortable.
Have you been on it?
Actually, yes,
it's unbelievable. And I'm sitting on the leather seats, and then as the thing's going, I look above, there's like blue neon above me, like that. I said, what's that? It's like fucking blue neons looking at me like, it's the fucking air conditioning. And oh my god, it's like fucking fully air conditioned blue neon. I was like, this is unbelievable. It's going to take an hour and a bit extra though. I was just on the phone. I was like, fucking sit back, took my shoes off, got me Roy Lichtenstein like fucking travel socks on, shoes off. I had like a pan of raisins I got from like from the station, and a bottle of water. I was on the coach. I was just thinking, fucking, so nice. Do you know what I mean? There was no catch. I arrived, Ian picked me up. I was like thinking, it's fucking.
You want to block their emails, so they're plaguing with their emails.
Do National Express.
Yeah, block them.
Block their emails. Have you travelled on the coach?
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was great. As you say, the brand, you know, they're great coaches. Like,
They're
you
coaches.
can charge your phone.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry, I forgot that bit. There's like right in front of you is 2 USB points. 2 USB points per person. On the train, it's a fight to get like the plug, but you only have the plug on the table. So they're all like battling to get the table because they want a plug, don't they? I just thought that's really worth it. I quite liked it. Do you know what I mean? I felt, you know, it was a different kind of vista, you know, but it was. No, I'm not gonna. I was looking on it because the £5.87 wasn't actually off of this fare. It's off my next ticket. And I was thinking, where can I go? And I was thinking, I want to go and see Frankie Boyle, Edinburgh Fringe. And as I was on the coach, oh yeah, it's got Wi-Fi as well. Yeah, as I was on the coach, I was thinking, where can I go? Edinburgh. How much is the ticket? Go on, hands up. 11 quid.
From London?
From London, £11, not even joking.
How long?
10 hours.
Yeah.
It's 10 hours. It's a trek. But, you know what you can do? What can you do, Ian?
Stay up late the night before.
Stay up late the night before, sleep on the party the night before, and sleep on the coach on the way. Do you know what I mean? Or just use it as a sleeper. Just get on it, just think it as a sleeper. Yeah. What's that stuff that you... I did bring some, just in case. Just get some Voltarol, which is quite good for like any back pains you get. If you get off the coach, just rub a bit of that in it. No, it's actually for my knee. Got a sore knee at the moment, just in case. But yeah, it's fine. Yeah, but you might need a bit of Voltarol on the way to Edinburgh to get off at Edinburgh. You can stand up in the coach. You can walk up and down the aisle, stretch your legs.
I couldn't do it anymore.
No.
My back wouldn't take it.
No.
I'm outside in the car and stuff.
Yeah. Go for a walkabout.
Yeah.
I'd go on the coach again. I thought it'd be, the aisle's quite big.
Yeah, it's only
Session of Pilates,
same as flying,
do a bit of Pilates.
When I'm flying, when I used to be with the wife, I used to have to get up and walk around the plane. And
Yeah.
you're a bit
Do you use Voltarol on your back or anything? Yeah. We all do, don't we?
bit of marijuana.
Bit of marijuana. Yeah. I've actually stopped that. I stopped that.
That's
Yeah.
CBD, I think you call it.
CBD. On the NHS now, apparently. Yeah, on the NHS. You can get that on the NHS, yeah. Not sure, back pain, probably down there. Can I have some CBD? What is it? CBD? What is it?
CBD.
Cannabis?
It's like an extract.
It's without the
Cannabis
THC,
extract.
without the THC, basically.
Anyone? Look, 142, 97 thumbs up. Anyone like on the CBD? They'll all be on the CBD. There's a few strange people on there. Hold on. They don't want us peasants to have pay rise, but it's okay for big business bosses and shareholders. It's a disgrace.
Yeah, too right.
Yeah, you're right there. I didn't get his username. Chucky. Right, Zola Clyde. Yeah, so this is like a thing, look, so they can just message you. Not messages, so you can interact. Yeah. Can be okay. Sometimes you get an errant person who will stay on there all the time writing extremely explicit comments, but we hello from Scotland. Hey Grant, how you doing? CDB. It's CDB. It's CDB.
CBD.
It's CBD, Carlos. DVD is good stuff. We use CBD when all the fun is in TH. Oh, why you? All the fun is in THC.
THC.
What's THC?
That's the active product of cannabis.
The active product.
Whereas CBD is with the THC taken out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like calming and relaxing, muscle relaxing or whatever.
Spoken by the expert.
Don't know anything about it, man. Not since my trauma. I had a bit of an episode earlier on in the year, which we won't talk about. Yeah, we was on about. Look, this is my zine. Bye, Boris. I'll put it in the link. 64 pages. I think like the zines. What do you think about the zines? The zines are quite good, aren't they? Like this is history. Look, history. Do you know what I mean? You'll look back in years to come and you'll go like, because Boris will be, well, hopefully he's fucking gone. But you know what I mean? He looks like he doesn't want to go, doesn't he? Did you see that this week?
It's not good.
I'm not even joking, like seriously, they don't even bat an eyelid. Oh no, another ethics advisor's gone. Do you know what I mean? You're gonna have to get another one. Get Prince Andrew, he'll sort you out. He'll be a good advisor. Ethics. Do you know what I mean? He doesn't even care. His second ethics advisor's left, and you know what his comment was? I don't think we need that job anymore. What's that role for anyway? Do you know what I mean? No one wants it. No one wants to stay in it. Do you know what I mean? Let's just not bother. That's fucking mental, isn't it? What's he doing? He's off his, like, seriously. Doesn't give two fucks. It's two fucks Johnson. Really doesn't. Can be, and he's an appalling guy. Do you know what I mean? As I was saying earlier on, financially illiterate. Do you know what I mean? He had to get a donor to do up. He lives in a Grayson favour. Imagine you were living in a place where someone else was paying the rent. Probably like some people do. Do you know what I mean? But then he couldn't even decorate it. You had to go and get the money from a Tory donor. Do you know what I mean? He won. Can't even remember her name. Lulu Little. Lulu Little came in. She was an interior designer. Yeah, she put in all that. It was horrific. It was like absolutely horrific stuff. But I saw earlier on as well that he was stopped from making his wife his personal advisor. Apparently that's not allowed. I never. He was going to make Carrie his personal advisor, but apparently that's not allowed. Prime Minister.
I'm surprised that you got away with that.
I know.
Well, you couldn't get away with that.
But he I saw Petronella on the telly the other day. Petronella, he got sacked from his job in the Michael Howard's cabinet because he's having an affair with this Petronella. And he said, no, I wasn't having an affair. And they found out that he was, and they sacked him from there. He was sacked from the Times for lying, sacked from the Tory opposition for lying, Michael Howard's government. And then, like, he was having an affair with, this is while he was Prime Minister, not while he was Prime Minister, but he was having an affair with, what's the American woman, remember her name? Oh, she's got like 2 flags in her. Yeah. She wrote a book. No, she came out. She wrote a thing. What's her name? Jennifer Arcuri. Yeah, just like what am I asking everyone else? The Prime Minister. Anyway, he was having an affair with Jennifer Arcuri, and he denied it, didn't he? As Prime Minister, he said no, it's nothing. And she kept denying it until she came out. Did she do like an expose in the Daily Mail and she started writing about it? So he was married with, I've forgotten her name, who he was married with. Anyway, Marina. He was married to Marina, got 3 kids with Marina. And he took Jennifer Arcuri into the marital home. She wrote about this. Now, you're going to have to check it. It's either in my imagination or this is real, because I still find it, when I talk about it, I still find it hard to believe. So he was naked on the sofa in the marital home, wife and kids are out, he's got Jennifer Arcuri, and he's naked, Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of England, and Jennifer Arcuri wrote about it. He had 2 cushions, yellow cushions, and he was holding a cushion on his front like that and a cushion on his back. And she wrote in the book, he was screaming at me, look at me, I'm a custard cream. Prime Minister. Extraordinary, no? Where'd you go with when like that? And it's like he's still the Prime Minister. Like, even if you thought in your wildest dreams, you just like, can we fact check that?
I'm Googling, yeah.
Look at me, I'm a custard cream.
Because if it comes up, it's probably me. So
It's on Google search.
I'm sure. Didn't that happen? We need Jennifer to answer. I should ask her, because she's always on the Twitter and on about, I think she's a Brexiteer, can't remember, but probably. But it's extraordinary that he's the Prime Minister of the country, because he is actually driving the country to ruin and no one even cares. And it's very hard to fight against things that, like, where people don't care. People don't care if they lose everything. You know, that's really difficult. It's really, really difficult, because I remember on that James O'Brien show, I think it was like someone who's like a bit, but anyway, when they were talking about Brexit, and he was saying, I don't care about, like, what's he saying? Yeah, he said something about, I'm going to lose my business if, like, you know, no. James O'Brien said, well, if you do the Brexit, what about if you lose your business? How are you going to look after your kids? And he said, I don't care about my kids. I don't care whether my kids eat grass, just get rid of the foreigners. Which is like a real, like, you can't fight against that kind of thinking or that ideology. And they know that, and that's why I said it at the beginning. That's why they do all that stuff about sort of like immigration, refugees. Because he was on there the other day, Adil Ray, and he had that Quentin Lex on the Good Morning Breakfast. And he was saying to him, he said, why are we saying to like white Ukrainian refugees fleeing the war, come to Britain, you know, we can put you in our home. Why can't we say that to like Syrian Kurds? Why can't we say that to Afghanis? Why can't we say that to Eritreans? Why can't we? Do you know what I mean? Why can't we say to people fleeing war? And it's proven, it's like 85%. It's Home Office figures. 85% of people across the channel are refugees. You know, and it is Lewis Goodall was doing like a little thread. He's over there at the moment. I went over to the camp, and he was saying, you know, they're coming for a reason. They're coming for a family. He's talking to like an Afghani guy whose wife is here. He said, where am I going to? Where else is he going to go? Where else is he going to go? And there was another guy who was military who tweeted like last week, and he said one of the people on the flight to Rwanda is like from an interpreter, an Afghani interpreter. It's his son. Do you know what I mean? He was like, people were like, why? What's the difference? And obviously what the difference is. But they do it purposefully. It's all purposeful. And it's like for power, it's for votes. Brexit was a tool for power. Brexit was racist, you know what I mean? It was a tool for power. It's to like, just rub that. Did you find it?
It's just your stuff.
Only me saying it was a custard cream. Only my tweet saying it was a look at me, custard cream.
I just looked it up as well. It did say that she said that having sex with him was like shagging a bin bag full of custard. So maybe that's what
Is that true?
That's what it says. That's what she said, yeah.
Jennifer, so we're just we've tweeted it. No, sorry, we've contacted Mr. Google. And Mr. Google said that Jennifer Arcuri wrote that having sex with Boris Johnson was like having sex with a bin bag full of custard. I know. But it's true. Like someone's saying there, look, they've been in power for 12 years and they've done that austerity thing where they absolutely smashed the country to bits. You know, I remember working with Deepak, disabled people against the cuts, where they took all their stuff off them, and they're saying that they know if they can do that to disabled people, do you know what I mean? They can do it to, you know, if people aren't going to outcry. That's the same as like when you think, if they can do that to lawyers, you know, like last week, what they were saying, like lefty lawyers, do you know what I mean? And like, well, they done it to the nurses. They do it to anybody. Do you know what I mean? It's not like they know they can get away with. What's that? Sorry, I missed that bit. There was breaking news there.
Custard lovers.
Yeah, someone who likes chocolate custard. Yeah, I think the idea that the Tories going to change, or like it's just all like, you know, when they start going on about like, oh, we're going to help, you know, the papers do it, oh, we're going to help with the cost of living, do you know what I mean, we're going to take £400 off you, you put it up by 2,800, do you know what I mean, taking £400 off, it's like, some questions coming through. Who has the conch? Don't know. I think the idea that like the Tories going to help anyone is like fucking just a massive misnomer. They're all out to help themselves, all of them, and they see things as like David Cameron does. They see politics as a way in for like Cameron left with 40 million. So when he became Prime Minister, no, during the time when he was Prime Minister, his dad died, do you remember? And he was named in the Panama Papers, and he got like, I think he split with his mum and his whatever siblings he's got. But Cameron left office with 40 million. It wasn't enough, and even though David Cameron did the austerity, he came back, didn't he, with, what was that guy? He was a billionaire, wasn't he? Came back with, to...
Australian chap.
Yeah. He came back to Well, basically, what their proposal was for the government was to nurses and NHS staff get paid on a certain day of the month, but they have to wait 48 hours for the money to clear. We'll pay them on the day, and we'll wait the 48 hours. And it was what they call a lost leader. And Cameron got loads out of it. I think he got 8 million. I can't remember what his cut was, but they never got the contract. But he just wanted to get in, didn't he? He wanted to get in the door. So the actual project wasn't going to make any money, but they wanted to get this first contract, which then sort of like made them officially they could apply for other contracts. Yeah. What's his name? Tell me his name. Who was the guy that David Cameron was like trying to do the NHS deal with? Probably someone's already told me. Cameron, NHS, billionaire. Everyone go, oh yeah, that's his name. It's just about Piggate. Greensill. Greensill. Yeah, so it was a really strange thing. Like, so that's the same as the newspaper, isn't it? Like what we was talking about earlier. Why would you do something for nothing? Do you know what I mean? And it's what they call in the business a lost leader. So it's to get you in somewhere to start. It would have been a government contract, but it doesn't sort of like. Cameron is that's such a bad thing to do to some, to come back and try and profiteering from like the NHS, something that you kind of smashed to bits.
I mean, all that PPI was all under the hand.
Yeah, that was under Labour. Some of that was under Labour though as well, wasn't it? PPI introduced under Tony Blair. Yeah, our local hospital, where the Princess Royal. Yeah, it's a bit mad, the PPI thing. I think in the beginning it seemed like a good idea, like you'd pay somebody else, you could get loads of new hospitals, it'd be great, do you know what I mean, just pay them off, but the fees were just astronomical. You end up paying off like so much more, like over a period of time. But they should just bring all that back. Who was it, John McDonnell, when he was saying he wanted to be the Chancellor, he was just going, we'll just bring that all back in. He said, yeah, but you can't just do it. They said, we'll do what we like. Do you know what I mean? If we're in power, it's exactly what Boris Johnson does what he likes. Do you know what I mean? If you've got the majority in Parliament, you should pass it as a law. That's what Boris Johnson's doing. Just pass it as a law. That's why they got in trouble over the Patterson thing, wasn't it? Well, they're like the overseeing body. Get rid of them. Who votes for that? Yeah, get rid of them. And they were like, well, you can't do like later on. They were going, we're really sorry, we didn't mean it. And then he got in trouble. Then he went, no, we're double sorry now. But, I mean, he's a rogue, isn't he? He's a terrible, terrible rogue, Boris Johnson. And, all the stuff about Piegate and even afterwards, not apologising. He was just like, I'll do it all again. Like the day after he said something like, I really regret doing it. Do you know what I mean? Karaoke. They had a guy. No, they sent a couple of aides out with suitcases down Strand to fill up. No, Tesco was closed. That's the thing.
Oh, well,
Yeah. So if you know Westminster, there's a little Tesco over by there. It shuts at 11. That was closed. So it tells you what time they were still partying at. So they had to go the further journey up Strand, so all the way up Whitehall, halfway down Strand to the co-op. And they left with 2 big suitcases. And they came back, clink, 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 clink. Imagine coming through security, clink, 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 clink. Everyone's going, yeah, but like, don't you search them if they got like suitcases? Oh, 10%. Pass me that little wire there. We need some juice. We got more juice now. Is that switched on? Yeah. Yes, I can't really tell. Yeah, and they were saying like coming back with the suitcases, clink, 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 through security, and then they were saying like, sorry, I repeat myself. They were saying like, shouldn't you search them people? They were going, or if they got a badge. Well, they've already been in once. Yeah, but they're coming back with big fucking suitcases that are clinking. Surely you want to say, like, what's clinking? Can we have a look in there? Do you know what I mean? You're in the middle of fucking lockdown. Do you know what I mean? You weren't allowed to go to the park. They shut the playgrounds in the park. Do you know what I mean? You weren't allowed to go anywhere.
Nobody questioned the police about
Nobody questioned the police. The only time I saw my family, I don't know whether anyone else had the experience, I swear to God, never saw my family for 6 months. The only time I saw them was some fucking mental quiz on a Zoom. We all got together. Oh no. One quiz was okay. One quiz, do you know what I mean? But then not every another quiz.
My wife was in a home and I didn't see her for 2.5 years. They wouldn't let you in. We're locked down for 2.5 years. I said, can we go and see that? No.
Wouldn't let him go and see his wife.
2.5 years. Yeah, 2.5 years. She's in a home.
I mean, seriously, when people, it was like, you know, no one could go anywhere. Clink, 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 clink. Do you know, and they were saying like, it was the details. There was a karaoke machine. There was a DJ. Do you know what I mean? It's a full-on rave. They were going out getting drink after 11 o'clock at night. They were so drunk, vomit up the wall. Clink, clink, and people can't even go and see his wife. Do you know what I mean? I'm playing quiz with the family. I hate them quizzes. Really bad, yeah, because like one was okay, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did anyone else do a quiz with the family?
Every week.
No,
Every week,
work colleagues.
I know.
They picked out for a couple of weeks.
Dressed up for it.
After a while, didn't everyone start dropping out? Going on for hours. Oh, that's really hard. Zoom quiz. Oh God, what a night! Thank God they're over. Do you know what I mean? I bet loads of people forgot about those. I bet you forgot about those. Do you know what I mean? Back in the, they never want to go back there. Yeah. I was doing Narcotics Anonymous on Zoom, which is quite handy. You know what I mean? That was good. Yeah, because in the office they were saying like people were green screening, weren't they? They was in they have a suit and tie on, but they was actually in bed and the quilt was just down really low. And they had the pillows puffed up, but they was on green screen, like it was on a swivel chair, and every now and again they'd just do that. But yeah, no, in the Narcotics Anonymous Zoom, everyone, you can be in bed, great, you know what I mean? There's no condition. Yeah, you can just be crushed out anywhere you like. Yeah, that's cool. Just relax. Yeah, because like loads of people were like, you know, they were saying that people didn't want to come. What's his name? Ambulance. You can hear. They were like, who's that guy? Jacob Rees-Mogg. He was going around putting little notes, wasn't he? Saying like, oh, you're not in work again. They were saying that he didn't even do that. He wasn't even, he just got somebody else to do it, because he wouldn't do that, would he? No. But they're not even, like, he was lounging, wasn't he, all the way down the seat. Caroline Lucas was going, Mr. Speaker, like, can you have a word with this fella? I mean, he was just lounging.
You've been listening to
He was full length, wasn't he?
You've been listening to earphones.
But that is the level of sort of like respect. Do you know what I mean? It was just like so disrespectful. He was just like couldn't, you know. He was almost like he was just like, can you bring me some Assam tea and a jam sandwich while you're at it? Do you know what I mean? He was just having it was appalling.
There's something else in this.
I know. And what? Oh God! What about her, Nadine Dorries? Oh, for fuck's! Oh my God! Absolutely. Have you seen the one where she's like, yeah, but like, so they do loads of like video clips, and there's one clip where she's who's that comedian? Oh, I can't remember her name. I've got lost now. Just lost in my. I think I saw it on TikTok. It's a distant memory from the. Yeah, because we were talking earlier about the real. So this is like I think it wasn't Nietzsche, but it's like somewhere around like that kind of period. But it's the real is of no significance to humankind whatsoever. Like, do we live in a state of continual and perpetual fantasy? We were talking about, like, you know, like yogis and people trying to be in the moment. They spend like decades, legs crossed, you know what I mean? Omming, like you know, trying just for that fraction, just to live in that one moment. What chance have we got? Do you know what I mean? With all the distractions of the world, we've got no chance whatsoever. And that's what they feed on. Do you know what I mean? That's what they're looking for, is complete distraction the whole time. Distraction. And so we're not talking about Partygate. Do you know what I mean? We're not talking about the cost of living crisis. We're not talking about child poverty. We're not talking about nurses eating from bins. We're not talking about Nana sitting in a nappy because we can't afford social care. No, we're talking about Rwanda. We're talking about like fucking lefty lawyers and the woke. Do you know what I mean? It's a distraction. That's what it's about, isn't it? And that's why, like, that's when the newspapers come in, because they're the cavalry. They're like the chargers for like the government, for Boris Johnson, for the Tories, and that's like they're so. I'm a bit of a grazer. I'm not a great reader, you know, reading books. But there's this guy, he's an Italian guy. Mussolini locked him up, and he did this cultural hegemony. What's his name? What's that fella called?
Gramsci.
Yeah, Gramsci. Antonio Gramsci. Yeah, so cultural hegemony. So the idea, as I get it, I might not be. The idea, cultural hegemony, is how do the people that own the castles, that own the land, how do they keep power? How do they keep especially like in a democracy? How do they keep people voting? How do they keep people voting for them? How do they get people voting for their own against their own personal interests? And so he wrote this thing in prison, which supposedly is quite dense, but I interpret the small bit that I saw like read on like Wikipedia. I get it like this, right? How they do that is through Downton Abbey, programs like this. Do you know what I mean? The Antique Roadshow. Do you know what I mean? Country File. This is the cultural hegemony. Do you know what I mean? This is the feeding of the masses. Do you know what I mean? Like Prince and Wales, Prince Wales and Kate. Do you know what I mean? It's the you know, the lifting up of like royals and like into, you know, the Royal Jubilee, which we just had, but also like daily front page news. She's got a polka dot dress on, and that is another one of the kids' birthdays. Do you know what I mean? They've got so many. I don't even know these little. I don't know whose they are. Who do they belong to? Do you know what I mean? Massive extended families now. I don't know. This one's like 4, 6, 8, 12. Do you know what I mean? Getting them ready, do you know what I mean, to rule, you know. Cultural hegemony is around the Crown, you know, this program, The Crown, you know, about the Queen, The Crown. You know, even to some extent, even though I know Bridgerton's like, the person, it's probably not, but it's something similar along these sort of like, you know, what's that one with the ice thing? Frozen, do you know what I mean? The dream. She fell in love with Once Upon a Time, do you know what I mean? That princess thing. The shit that we get when we're kids. I don't know what cultural hegemony is, but it's like, you know, stories about the rich, the powerful, that throw them in a good light and throw sort of like work, like anyway. That's how they keep the power, do you know what I mean? Through newspapers, through programs, through television, through sort of like, through nationalism, isn't it, as well? The nationalism comes through on that as well. Yeah. We can ask, does anyone here got any questions? Should we ask any questions? And we'll ask people on here. Has anyone got any questions? Ask any questions now. 54 minutes, we've got like 6 minutes left. It's an hour-long show. We might extend it if you've got a lot of questions. You've got 173 viewers and 156 likes. I'll take that as like 5-star. And that's the royal family. How do you like your tea, Mark? I like Assam tea. I've been going. I've been going to this cafe in Kennington, and the guy who runs it, Charlie Boxer, whose dad was a famous cartoonist for the Times and the Guardian, Mark Boxer. He was married to Anna Ford. Do you remember the newsreader, Anna Ford? Well, I was in there, and he said to me, "Oh, you should have some Assam tea." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he made me a pot of Assam tea. It was really nice. So I went and bought some from Tesco's. I've got 2 teapots. I've got a glass teapot that has a thing where you put the tea leaves in it and it brews in it, but you can't leave that Assam tea in it for long. Otherwise it ferments, you know what I mean? So you just do that and then you pour it into a teapot so it doesn't stay in the leaves. Oh, it's so nice. Yeah, I drink a pot of that Assam tea. Someone asked how do you have your tea? Does people drink tea? Do people like tea? Yeah, I like that.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think a lot of us around here probably don't like Boris. I think that's said that. But what sort of solutions can we do? Sort of getting rid of Boris. What do you think would be a good picture politically for the country if we got rid of Boris? You know.
Well, I think first of all, we can't get rid of Boris, can we?
Wolfie, power to the people.
Power to the people, Wolfie. We can't get rid of Boris, can we? Because we live in this strange sort of like electoral system where people don't actually elect the Prime Minister. The political parties do. So at any time, even in office, they can get rid of a Prime Minister. Any time. Well, I think there's some rules around it, but like, yeah, they can do that, and they pick and choose, and the same with the Labour Party as well. So if a Labour Prime Minister, I think Tony Blair gave up for Gordon Brown, do you know what I mean, in political office. So Gordon Brown was never actually elected. The Labour Party elected him. So the same for so it's quite a strange electoral thing. So one, I don't think we can get rid of him, and two, the picture would be Keir Starmer. Do you know what I mean? And people were like saying, like, you know, they're already like the front page of the Times the other day, which was the day after Boris vote, or maybe the day after the Boris vote, and it wasn't the main story, but it was the header, and it was Keir Starmer is boring us to death. Do you know what I mean? Which is something they'll propagate. Do you know what I mean? So like, you know, people saying, "Oh, if we vote for Keir Starmer," you know, if Keir Starmer gets in, I really, really would like to say that, like, even though, like, I would never, well, he's got to be better than Boris Johnson. He doesn't stand for anything. This is like, this is
He's Teflon non-stick.
He's just not, yeah, no, because.
He's just Teflon non-stick.
But Keir Starmer is like, I think Owen Jones wrote it, he's a liar. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
he got elected, all of these things that he said, then he got elected, none of it was true. Do you know what I mean? It was all just fucking lies to get elected. How can you trust anyone like that? I know. So he's not better than the Tories.
No, he must be.
He must be better than the Tories. What do you think? Is Keir Starmer better? No, but that's a real, yeah, anyone must be. Do you know what I mean? It's true.
But if it's him, it's tragic, isn't it?
Yeah, because like even when Labour was in power, like with Tony Blair, and he did do good things. You know what I mean? There was Sure Starts or whatever.
And there's
there was lots of things. But yeah, he trebled
out.
tuition fees. I pushed a monkey nut and protest against it. Do you know what I mean? I went to Birmingham to protest against Liam Byrne, who was the immigration minister at the time, with Aaron Barshak, because he was sending back people to Darfur. Do you know what I mean? In the Sudan when the war was on. You know, they done some mad things. Do you know what I mean? Nothing worse than the Iraq War. You know, where 1 million people died and lied to go to war, so BP can extract more oil from the Ramallah oil field, and they're still doing it today, like 3 million barrels a day. You know, that's where Basra is. That's why we went to Basra. The second largest oil field in the world is next to Basra. But that's the thing, isn't it? So they're bad, but like, are they not as bad? Do you know what I mean? It's fractions, isn't it? Like.
So should we get behind the Labour Party despite them hating the left now?
Oh, like I've only ever voted twice, in 2019, 2017, and like I did join the Labour Party, but I left it. I really can't. I can't do it. You know, and even though I think Keir Starmer will probably win an election, to be fair, against Boris. It'll be tight, but I think people will have had enough of the Tories by then.
And if they've got a bunch of semi-left people that stand for something,
if they've got Annie, just fucking Annie. If you've got like Nadia Whittome, if you've got Zara Sultana, if you've got a few people that you think like this can be the future. But it's actually funny. So on I went to the Rwanda protest the other night, and then after I went to see this Eke, she's Turkish, she's just written a book. Ended up in a fucking, me and my friend took Jeremy Corbyn and his wife Laura home. It's fucking hilarious. And when we got to his house, it was like, he was talking about like people super glued themselves to his fence and everything. But I did say to him, we was in the car, and I said to him, do you know, like after everything, I think the worst thing that's happened is that there's no successor. You know, like in America, I think even though like Biden's like fucking sewn up, and I'm sure that side of the Democratic Party will probably win any next sort of like leadership thing if Biden stands again. Do you know what I mean? I've got no idea. But they've got Alessandra Ocasio-Cortez who like will be eligible next time, because you have to be 35 in America. But I think it's a real failing of the left. And I really hated that it's called the left. Do you know what I mean? It should just be like, there were some really fucking good ideas in there. And they steal after them, do you know what I mean? Anything that's reasonable, that doesn't cost too much, do you know what I mean? The Tories they'll just take it because it looks good, do you know what I mean? But I think genuinely, like, I think it was Andrew Fisher who wrote the manifesto or the proposals, the policy. Was he Andrew Fisher? He wrote the first manifesto. Is it a manifesto? What do you call that book that comes out?
Yeah,
Is it manifesto? Yeah, Andrew Fisher wrote that, and he took loads of ideas, and like, you know, I think John McDonnell might have been involved in some of it as well. And I think there were so many good ideas and so many good things. And they were talking about things like so they have universal basic income, so where everyone gets like a certain amount. And they were like, no fucking way. What about What about universal basic services? It's like, what's that then? Free transport, free education. Do you know what I mean? These are basic things that we could provide, that are provided in other countries. Do you know what I mean? And to a limited extent, we provide here already. But it should be over all of it. Do you know what I mean? I know in Germany, all education's free. Do you know what I mean? There's people staying in education for 10 years. But no, they're turning out fucking proper engineers. Do you know what I mean? Whatever thing, artists who are like fucking wallowed in like fucking experimental art for like 10 years, coming out, you know, making really incredible stuff. And it's got to be for the betterment of any country. So like, free education. And they say, oh, we've already got free education. It costs a fucking fortune. Do you know what I mean? Parents are like, well, no, like my son's not doing a fine art degree, or my daughter's not doing fucking ceramics. Do you know what I mean? Because there's no fucking, you know what I mean? They're going to go and do graphic design. And that's the truth. That's why the the ceramics course is closed. Fine art is like, you know, just for sort of like elite and sort of like quite privileged children. And graphics is filled with people whose parents want their kids to go and get a job. Do you know what I mean? Which, you know, it's still art, but it's like, it's art with a purpose kind of thing, which is a bit different. But if we had free education, people would. That was like, I remember Thatcher, and she was talking to this university student. She said something like, "Oh, what are you studying?" And she said something like, you know, ancient sort of like Icelandic language or something. Well, what's the point of that? Do you know what I mean? It's a big point, do you know what I mean? Or ancient Icelandic literature.
Go on, what is the point in that?
No, but there is, isn't there? Because it's knowledge, isn't it? It's for the betterment of everybody. That like someone might be touched or moved by bringing like some incredible play that's been lost somewhere. you know, that we're all touched by, like, we all need sort of like creative stuff, and we're all
enrichment.
yeah, it's enrichment, and it's like, you know, it's used in therapy. Do you know what I mean? It's used in, we put it on the walls of buildings. Do you know what I mean? We were just speaking with my friend here, like about
Busy, isn't it?
immersive theatre. This theatre where, like, you actually, when you go to the theatre, you got to get involved. You know what I mean? It's incredible, bringing you out yourself. You know, out the fucking wires that are strapped to your head on the fucking worldwide internet from TikTok. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, education. You know, universal basic services, free transport. Do you know what I mean? Have they not even thought about, like, what that would do? Like, no more, like, you know, like all this sort of like climate change stuff. Oh, that was the other thing that someone said as well, which I learned, was Zoom has done more for green energy. Zoom did more for green energy than any electric car ever did. Like, because people were like not travelling, they were going on,
Yeah, there's going to be free broadband as well.
free broadband, exactly.
Jeremy
Do you know what I
Corbyn
mean?
proposed, and
Yeah.
people were going, you know, what's the point
What's
of
the point
that?
of free broadband?
And then we had the bloody pandemic.
Yeah, but we need, or like universal basic services would be so incredible, you know. And why, like, you know, why do we spend things on, like, you know, other stuff that they come up with? I don't even know how many billion they lost on. But I'll read something like, you know, how money's created, like Richard Murphy and that. Do you know what I mean? How do you think we got through the pandemic? We got through the pandemic by that thing that they do with they got through, like, through the banking crisis. Quantitative easing, do you know what I mean? We can make our own money because we actually physically do. We have a central bank that can physically do it. So all of that money that got spent, like the 37 billion and all the hundreds of billions, all that furlough pay, all of that, that's all quantitative easing money. That's all money. Where do you think the government just come out? We didn't make that money. That money just didn't suddenly appear and they go, oh, we've got massive tax returns this year. No, you made it. You printed it. You made, like, what was it? They made another 450 billion. We're up to, like, I think it's 900 billion. We did like 350 or 550 in the banking crisis. We've done another 450. We're up to 900 billion worth of quantitative easing. Doesn't matter. Never got to be paid back. It's nothing. It's just like, you know, the only thing they make money off is your debt. Do you know what I mean? So, like, even loaning you money, they're not even loaning you the money. When they write it, they just write that money exists. That money doesn't even exist. What exists is the debt that you're going to pay. No, the action, not even the debt. Not even the debt. The interest. The interest that you pay is what makes the money. And it's like fucking extraordinary, because when you start to think about that like that, it's like that Terence McKenna thing. We've got everything to make a perfect world. We've got love, we've got the money, we've got the creative capacity, we've got the intelligence. And it's like, well, why don't we do it? Because they got us standing on fucking kicking each other's head in. Do you know what I mean? They got us angry on what we were talking earlier about, like, angry on the internet, like raging about, like, because they're just winding everyone up. They're the fucking #1 trolls. You know what I mean? The front page of the paper is like, it's like fucking bait, isn't it? When they go fishing, they put like a little bit of bait on and they sling it in the thing. They're just reeling you in. Oh, I did ask people. I should have someone taking notes. And I think you don't realize that even if you owe nothing, your working age, you owe 50,000.
Everyone in the UK.
Yeah.
But that is the magic money tree that the Conservatives told us didn't exist.
Yeah.
Who knows?
The magic money tree. But there's someone's asking about, like, sort of like the propagation of, like, white power as well. You know, like, so I write like things like White Lives Matter, and, you know, more white wing, because it's really extraordinary and it's really shown in what we're seeing now with the Ukrainian and the Rwanda thing. Everyone can see it. It's so blatant. You know what I mean? That that's one of their main interests, is like to keep that sort of like power base, because it fits with the working class. You know what I mean? It's not just them. It's the white power's not just for them. they just don't keep it. You know, they keep it through like white people, like poor white people voting for them. Yeah, so like I mean, yeah, look, so this is like Danya Simon. So yeah, what are we gonna do? Just have immigration then? Do you know what I mean? It's like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Well, you want an open door policy. Do you know what I mean? Well, where do you want to go? Do you know what I mean? Why should anyone be stopped from going anywhere? Do you know what I mean? Do you know like Elif, right? So Elif is like, she's with the women's Kurdish people. So this area, which they call Kurdistan, so you've got Iraq, you've got Turkey, Iran, and Syria, and in the middle, all on the borders of these countries, you have Kurdish people. And she was saying, we don't even want our own country. We want an autonomous region. We want to be able to go to Syria, to go to Iran, to go to Iraq. You know what I mean? This is all Kurdish people. You know, and this is what the world should look like. You know, no borders, you know, no country, but like, you know, people. And I thought that's amazing. And they have like cantons. So they have like a little, they don't have political power base. They have like local power bases. Like I think they do in Switzerland. They have little cantons. And then everything that gets passed, it always has the final council that it goes through. It's an all-women's council. Look, there's masses of questions coming through. We're up to nearly 200 viewers. We've got 200 likes.
Almost as many as
If you can, yeah, that's it. About the white thing there, they're saying if you can convince poor people that they're special, pro-globalism, just like Mark.
So there's so many people want to come here because we've got so much of a slice of the amount of money that there is in the world. We've got more of it than a lot of other countries have got.
I mean,
so the people want to come here because they see us as big rich, and we are.
Yeah, but most of the stuff that we have, which is sort of like, our two of our biggest companies are BP and Shell. So, and then the other ones are banks. So all of this is sort of like people, private companies that go around the world extracting other people's wealth. Do you know what I mean? You go to places like Congo, it's like the most sort of like natural resources anywhere. You know what I mean? Extreme poverty, and it's because lots of the capitalist sort of like companies go there and extract all of their
But
wealth.
what gets a lot of people back because they come across all in other countries when they could stop, right? You know, that's what gets people back. I mean, the international law says you have to stop, you know, in the first. I mean, it's.
Yeah, but he's coming to see his wife's here.
Yeah, that's different, right? Yeah, but that's an exception, isn't it? Like?
No, it's not. There's loads of them like that. There's loads of people coming here for family reasons, but also for colonial reasons. Do you know what I mean? A lot of these people that they want to send to Rwanda are from ex-British colonies. Do you know what I mean? It's not like, you know.
This is the homeland.
Yeah, they see it. It's like, you know. Yeah, I think Akala does that about, like, you know. Yeah, it talks about sort of like coming back to the motherland. I don't know. I think it's like, yeah, I would have open borders. Do you know what I mean? And I think it is like, you know, I cannot see the reason why, you know, why people can't just travel and why some people have sort of like the dignity or the right to like move and other people don't. I don't think that's, I don't see that as a, so yeah, but you can't, but they wouldn't do that, would they? Why would they move? But a lot of people want to stay with their family and stay where they are, but they get displaced, you know what I mean? They get wars, you know what I mean? I don't know how many of the countries that people are fleeing are like actually physically getting bombed by like weapons that are manufactured here. Do you know what I mean? I think Frankie Boyle does that. You know what I mean? Yeah, we'll bomb you, and then like when you want to come. Yeah, when I went to the to Calais and I went to some of the camps. So the main camps I went to, one was a Kurdish camp. A lot of so after the Iraq War, during the Iraq War, Tony Blair opened up safe passage for Kurdish refugees. David Cameron shut it as soon as he came into office in 2010. So what you ended up with was massive Kurdish communities especially like in North London, we have Kurdish communities. And when I went over there in the Kurdish camps, I went to film the people who were coming to help. So I wasn't particularly interviewing refugees. But I spoke to one guy, and he'd been living in Kilburn with his family. He only had relatives there, so they would have been like brother, sister, father, uncle. And he had to sign on at Kilburn every day. Lived in Kilburn for 5 years. One day he signed on, took him, flew him to Glasgow in Scotland, and then flew him from Glasgow back to his point of entry, which was Hungary, whatever that was, like how many ever years before. And he was now in France trying to get back to his family.
In Kilburn. Crazy.
I know. But it's like the other camps I went to, one was an Afghani camp. So like people are fleeing. Right now, there's more refugees coming through and down to Calais. And they say Britain, they see Britain as their sort of like colonial home. Do you know what I mean? And they know that like whatever happened during the war, and now that sort of like British and American troops have left, they're going to get it from the Taliban. They will be fucking, living under like sort of like strict rule, but like possibilities of being sort of like tortured or like, they're fucking getting out. The other one camp I went to was an Eritrean camp. I was speaking to them, so I'm not sure whether there's a war still going on there, but they're all getting conscripted. So basically, I think it's 13. So from 13 or 14. From 14, I might be wrong, you have to check it, but from 14 you're conscripted into the army, like military service for a couple of years, and it's horrific, and the parents don't want them, so they send these their young sons away. They say, like, get the fuck out, do you know what I mean? And they're doing like, all sorts of fucking things to get. And we have Eritrean communities down where I am in Stockwell, do you know what I mean, in South London. But the other thing is so in France, there's no, and Britain and the rest of Europe, there's no reciprocal diplomatic thing. So with these displaced people, Kurdish, Eritrean, Afghani, you can't take them and say, right, we're going to send you back to their country. You can't do that because there's no kind of diplomatic exchange and all. But not every people that are fleeing war want to come to Britain. Do you know what I mean? Most of them stay in Europe. Most of them, like Kurdish people, are in Germany. Massive Turkish and Kurdish communities there. But like the ones that want to come to here, they make their way here for a reason. They're not, and we don't even there's not even that many. Do you know what I mean? And they're already said, if 85% of them, Home Office figures are saying, have political like asylum, like refugee status upheld, why are we not? They're saying like, oh, we got to stop the people smugglers. You could stop the people smugglers right now. Fucking charter some boats yourselves. Do you know what I mean? Why don't you charter the boats and bring anyone over? Do you know what I mean? You could stop the people smugglers now. Set up a centre in Calais, Boulogne, British, because we actually we built a fence over there. I don't know whether you know, millions and millions of pounds. We've got fences all the way down the train tracks, all of the way into the thing. We've got a border. We've basically got a border land now in France. Set up a centre there. If people have a legitimate claim to refugee, why can't you take that right there? If you want to stop the people smugglers, set up a place in Calais or Boulogne where people can come in and openly apply. If they don't have documentation because they're fleeing war, at least minimal. Listen to them. Assess a claim on some grounds. Try and like find a way to get the information, get the sort of like documentation that they need. And people know already that like Ukrainian people are coming to the Polish border without any documentation, without anything, trying to claim. And it's like, just come in, we'll find out a way to do it. And people fleeing sort of like Syria or Afghanistan, they're coming through sort of like the same channels, they get sent out to a port cabin. Do you know what I mean? And held there. Not even allowed to cross the border in Poland. Well, That's what I mean. It's like it's tiny, it's miniature as well, and it wouldn't even be that many people. It's really upsetting. And if you go out there, you'll get upset. Do you know what I mean? It will change your life. You go out there and you go to a camp, you'll come back upset. No, you will do. Anyway, right, we're gonna have to we got like 80 minutes on the clock. If we got any more questions, do you like my new top? I got it for my birthday. My mum got it for me. Have you seen my mum lately? I've been making some things, and Nigella Lawson. Has anyone seen Nigella Lawson likes my food? Have you seen any of my cooking?
No.
Oh my god, I've been doing loads of cooking.
So where's this on YouTube then?
No, it's on the Twitter, but I've been I've been cooking for I'm making mum art. Making art about my mum. I take pictures with her, I make her food, and Nigella Lawson has liked the food. Watch this, I'll show you. I will find it if I can. Right. I'll just put Nigella and Chunky Mark's mum. Oh, sorry, I did that wrong. I really like Nigella Lawson, and I like her. She's not a chef, you know. Nigella Lawson, she models herself on. She's a home baker.
Yeah.
She's a home baker. I don't think. Look! Right, look. Can everyone see that? Can you ready? Can you see? Look down the bottom as well. Look down the bottom. Alright, cool. So I say, yeah, one lucky mum. Hold on. Oh, that's unbelievable. Yeah, this one here is, I'll just show you this food, right? So I made my mum bangers and mash. So the mash is celeriac and potato. Did you see my bangers and mash?
Oh, I love celeriac.
Listen, celeriac mash, 2 bangers on top. On top of that Swede, and I made a parsnip, carrot and onion rosti.
Nice.
Yes.
We are going to get Mark in the kitchen next time.
Oh, come on, yeah. I'll just come up and do that. Yes.
Sorry, you want to?
Yeah, look. So this one here, look. I made another one. That's a shepherd's pie. Look what what's Nigella say?
Lucky her, that all looks fabulous.
Oh, fucking hell. Oh, do you know what I made my mum? So I made her a shepherd's pie. That's the shepherd's pie. And school cake and custard. Chocolate sponge.
Was it custard and bean bag?
No, listen to this, right? So you just made a chocolate sponge, and you know the chocolate, you buy the chocolate and you just melt it, and what you do is you pour the melted chocolate over the sponge, and it's really thin. But it's the texture because you let it harden again. It comes back to chocolate. Wait, let's see what else I got from Nigella. Oh, so I also made my mum cabbage and gammon and cabbage. So in Ireland they have so it's like I did pea puree on the bottom, and then it's got gammon, and then I've got cold cannon cake, and then an egg and a bit of shamrock on top. So that's gammon. Yeah, that's gammon. Hold on, wait, what did I do for dessert that night? Oh, I did a berry cobbler, which is a really old English. So you make these little round things that look like cobblestones. What's Nigella say about that one?
Not all Nigellas, are they?
These are all Nigella. What's she say?
How divine.
How divine. And then, like my friend the other day said, like, this is so bad. You're using your mum to get to Nigella. So what you're doing, we all know what you're doing. Yeah, this one here is, so I made a trifle, and what I was thinking in my head, you know, trifle, it has sponge in it, doesn't it? And I'm going to make a trifle, and I was thinking about that, and I was thinking you could use a blueberry muffin. Do you know a blueberry muffin has a sponge? So I got the blueberry muffin, I put the blueberry muffin in the bottom. On top of the blueberry muffin, I put lemon curd, then berries, then meringue, then clotted creams, and then whipped cream, ice cream, and hundreds and thousands. That was the trifle. Yeah, that was a really good trifle. And it's the lemon, I think it was the blueberry muffin and the meringue. What's Nigella say about that one? Lucky her, that looks fabulous. Yeah, and for that.
So you got a dialogue with Nigella going then?
Listen, for that, I made for the main course. I made my mum parsnip in a bechamel sauce with steamed cabbage pie. That was a really good pie. That was a good pie. Yeah, the bechamel sauce, it has nutmeg in it. Here's my mum about to eat the trifle. Do you only want to see my mum? Here's my mum about to eat the trifle. Yeah, nice photo, mum. Making mum art. Anyway, yeah, this is a birthday present from Mum. That's how we got there. Anyway, so it's been really good having you. Well, thank you for joining. Look, we've still got 133 people. I feel really bad about like shutting you down already. Do you know what I mean? But we're going to be back tomorrow morning at 12 o'clock. We're going to do the 1 hour newspaper review live from Cole's Corner in Sheffield. Bit rainy today. If you're in a sunnier part of the country, you know, we like it rainy up north. We're going to have a nice cup of tea. They make a nice cup of tea in Sheffield. So I'm going to get a cup of tea. Oh, look, there's so many questions.
You're lucky you get Assam tea.
Yeah, I'm going to see that. Stay, Mark. It's dry. You're in Romford. It's dry. Oh. So, okay, listen. Just hang out and we'll get some... I'll ask for some tea. Has anyone got any questions?
No, I don't think so.
Alright, right. Go look in my Etsy page. Get Bye Bye Boris. Pissed on by this. This is actually from a poem by, who's the beat poet?
Kerouac.
No, he's a writer, but he was a bit more coarser than him. They made the film Barfly about him.
Oh, Bukowski.
Charles Bukowski. You say born into this. Have you ever heard that poem? Pissed on by this. He just keeps talking about this, and he said it's a real fucking horror story. And at the end he said, could happen. Yeah, pissed on by this. Yeah, that's a really good poem. Only fools vote Tory. That's a good one. He's licking it. Alright then, I'm going to have to go now. And right, so we'll see you here tomorrow morning, 12 o'clock. Be on time. Look out for the link. I'll send the link on the Twitter. Not on the TikTok. I might send it on TikTok. I'll do a video in the morning. I should do the 2-minute newspaper review first. early at 5 o'clock. I have to get Ian up early. Go to the newspaper shop. All right then.